Okay, so we were there into the loan amortization schedule yesterday, and my friends, in that we had taken the two examples. One was the ordinary annuity, another one was the annuity due when the installment was paid at the very beginning of the loan period. And my friend, over there, one may encounter with doubts that, sir, if we have a quarterly installments or a monthly installments or say 6 monthly installments, then what we'll have to do? Well, my friends, you'll have to just first find that how many number of installments you will be making. How do you find that? Say here there are 5 years, right? In the question we had taken, and it is a monthly installment. So 5 multiplied by 12. So obviously serial number is going to be 60. So here in this case, instead of 5, you will be taking 60 installments. And while finding the PV and the installment amount, my friend, at that time, the rate should be divided by 12, and N should be multiplied by 12. So whatever the compounding frequency is, if it is say monthly, then rate should be divided by 12 and number of periods should be multiplied by 12. If it is a quarterly, then rate should be divided by 4 and number of periods should be multiplied by 4. As simple as that. So if it is quarterly or a monthly, or it is say daily in some of the cases, then you will have to just multiply the number of periods and divide the rate accordingly. Now if we'll be doing it for 60 number of times, no, then it would be too much time consuming right now. Our concern right now is to learn it from fundamentals. So once our conceptual knowledge is built, then by using some other advanced features of Excel, say in some other advanced financial management subjects, uh, we may go through with some complicated exercises involving many number of periods and such Bahubali kind of questions. Because if you take some of the loans like home loans, they are paid on a monthly basis, having 15 to 20 number of years. So 15 multiplied by 12, so you can imagine there would be 180 installments. So if 180 installments, you will be preparing the loan amortization schedule manually like this. तो फिर इधर बैठे बैठे शाम हो जाएगी, हमें और कुछ करने के हम लायक ही नहीं रहेंगे. So that's why we haven't taken such kind of things yet, but you are aware about the conceptual part of it. Let's move to one very important concept called CAGR. Sir, what is this CAGR? CAGR stands for compounded annual growth rate. Say if I give you a very simple question, try to understand. If you want to see that whether the shares of Reliance has given you the better return in historically, or the fixed deposit has given you the better return. Say the fixed deposit rate is fixed, on an average we are taking 7% per annum. But when you had invested in the Reliance, say 5 years back, you had invested at say 1200, and right now the share price are 2200. How do you compare the performance of these two alternatives? One is in absolute percentage, another one is in amount. So what is exactly the growth rate at which the value of shares of Reliance have grown over a period of time? That can be identified by using the formula of CAGR, that is the compounded annual growth rate. My friends, there are various types of investments. One type of investments, you get the fixed interest return. Say the fixed deposit, you deposit some amount of money, you get the fixed percentage of the interest on that. Say some other sort of an investment, government bonds, you will be getting the fixed percentage of the return on that. But if we take some other investments which do not give you the fixed return, but they give you the increment in the market price, like the shares, the gold bonds which are issued by the government of India, that is also a very good attractive investment. I'm a great fan of the sovereign gold bonds, SGB. You may explore that further, because if you take the gold, then you will have to store the gold, you will have to physically keep it somewhere. In gold, what is the benefit you get in terms of return? The increment in the market price. No one comes and gives you the fixed percentage of the return on gold, right? You get the increment in the market price. But if you go to the sovereign gold bonds, they are taking the market value of the gold. So increment in market price is also been taken into account. Along with that, they also give you some fixed percentage of the return, say 2.5, 2.7 percentage or something. So you can imagine, you can get the two types of benefits from the sovereign gold bonds. One is the increment in market price, another one is the fixed percentage of the interest you get. But if you physically take the gold, only type of return you get is the increment in market price. Earlier, 40,000 rupees were there for 10 grams. Now it's 50,000 rupees, or it may go to 60,000 now. Along with that, you will have to take the risk of ownership as well. You will have to store it somewhere. You will have to keep it in a safe custody somewhere. Maintenance cost needs to be incurred as well. Some safety things you will have to establish, Instead of that, invest in the sovereign gold bonds. Why you want to hold it physically? Just hold it electronically. Electronic securities would be given to you in your account. And that would be tracking. The sovereign gold bond prices are closely reflecting the market value of the gold only. So increment in market price has also been received by you. And over and above, you also get the fixed percentage of the return as well. Now, in that cases, it becomes slightly difficult for us to know that what is the exact rate of return we have got. So let's again come back to the example we had taken. Say there is a share called Reliance. Before 5 years, when we had invested, the value was 1,200. Now the value is 2,200. And there was a fixed return on the fixed deposit of 7%. And if I am supposed to comment that which investment has performed better, how can I do it? Either I will have to convert that, that if I had invested 1 lakh rupees in a fixed deposit and 1 lakhs in a, say, Reliance, then what would have been the value right now? That would have been the one way. But if I want to know that what is the rate of return I have got from the Reliance, how can I do it? That's the CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. May I have a confirmation from the students that you are clear with the conceptual part of CAGR? All of you guys? Received it from Miss Urja, Mr. Vishal as well, Miss Nandini, Miss Devanshi too. Nice to see that. So what is the formula? Now this is a real example. Say the Reliance was costing 1,200 in 2016, and in 2021 the value of Reliance is 2,150. We are supposed to find the CAGR from it. And there was one real estate property purchased by one of my friends. If you recall it, at Madhapur Circle, there is one tower called Dwarika Heights. And he keep boasting about his achievement. He said that 48 lakhs rupees was my investment. Nowadays, the value of that 3 BHK flat is 60 lakhs rupees. I say, see, you have got just 12 lakhs rupees of return. Do not boast about it. That's a very moderate kinder return. If you would have invested somewhere in a stock market during this 5 years, the kind of a return you would have got would have been amazing. I'm not saying that real estate property investment is not so good. Situation to situation, based on the risk taking capacity of the individual who is investing it, based on the number of people who are dependent on that investor based on return expectations of that investor. Everyone's preferences would differ and everyone's investment would differ. I'm not denying that fact. But in terms of return, no one comes close to the equity market. No one can come, come close to the equity market. That's what the fundamental feature of the rich people is. Even if they want to invest in the real estate, no, how do they approach the real estate investment? They won't invest in the real estate physically. They would invest in a company of real estate by purchasing the shares of it. So if you just try to analyze the percentage of assets, then in India, as well as outside, the middle class holds too much of assets into real estate, into some physical assets, gold, commodities, etc. But if you take the rich people, their majority of the assets are in the equity stock. Now, how the wealth of Mr. Mukesh Ambani would be calculated, who is the managing director of Reliance Industries Limited? He is the owner of the Reliance Industries Limited. He is holding the shares of it. So basically, he is getting the money from the shares only, right? That's the different matter, that he holds 60 or 70% of RIL, or I am just holding 10 to 15 shares of Reliance. But we both are owners. Okay. So we'll go to the CAGR of the Reliance first. So the formula of the CAGR looks like, everyone would start along with me. CAGR equal to closing value minus opening value raised to 1 divided by n, and after that you have minus 1. So the closing value of the Reliance shares, first we'll be finding for that, is 2150. Some people will be like, so sir, it is not 2150, exact amount is different. My friend, I know. The share market is fluctuating at the every moment. We are just taking the approximate figures. Approximate figure 2016, say 1200 raised to 1 divided by n. N stands for the number of years. Number of years, because we are finding the annual growth rate, right? So n should also be presenting the number of years. So from 2016 to 21, there are 5 years elapsed. Just putting 5 over there, minus 1 equal to, just find first of all what you have there in a bracket. Everyone would be doing it along with me. 2150. और ये बच्चे है ना, सर का बहुत पॉपट कर रहे हैं आजकल. ऐसा फाइंड करके करके मुझे आंसर देते हैं, फिर सर को वेरीफाई करने पड़ते हैं आंसर. 1.79, तो इसलिए मैंने सोचा है कि मैं ही कर लूंगा. 7916. Some people will like, sir, आपने लास्ट टाइम तो आपने भी मिस्टेक की थी. हाँ ठीक है ना भाई, की थी. 1 divided by 5 minus 1, and we are mathematically stuck. The moment we are mathematically stuck. Yes, anyone want to say something? ओके कुछ लोग कहते हैं ना, ऐसे हड़ूक करके हाउकली करके चले जाते हैं क्लास में, ऐसे अनम्यूट करके हाउकली करके फिर चले जाते हैं. ओके, इक्वल टू, you may just assume this value as x. We'll be taking the logarithm for it now, and Excel has got a very simple formula to do this, but we are doing it manually, and we are assuming that we do not have the scientific calculator too, so we'll be taking the log of it. So x equal to 1.7916 raised to 1 divided by 5. Take log on both the sides. Log x equal to whatever is there in power will come into a multiplication. Log of 1.7916 equal to 1 divided by 5. Let's go to the log table. 17, 9's value, 1's min difference. अरे ओ लोगेरिथम टेबल खुल जा सिम सिम। आए 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 लोगेरिथम टेबल में आए। तो we'll be taking it for the first digits, the value of 9's table and 1's min difference. So 17 we have got over here, 9 ka value we have got over here, and the min difference of 1 is over here. So in this 2529 I have got, I'll be adding 2, so that would be 2531. 2531. Sir, before point there is one digit, so our answer should start with 0, 1 minus 1 while taking the log. So 0.2531 to be divided by 5. Log x equal to 0.2531 divided by 5. Let's see, what do we get there? We get 0.05062. और अगर ये वाले लॉग को बेटा तुम भूल जाओगे तो बड़ा पछताओगे. Taking that logarithm on a right hand side, so x equal to the log will become the anti-log of 0.05062. So sir, now we'll go to the anti-log table. Okay, let's go. Anti-log table starts with the decimal only. सर थोड़ा सा जूम कीजिए. अज्यूम मत कीजिए कि हम अर्जुन की तरह एकदम तीक्ष्ण दृष्टि रखने वाले लोग हैं. 0.050 and 6 min difference. So 0.05 we have got over here. This is 0 ka value. And in that the min difference of 6 would be added. So 6 min difference is 2. So 2 would be added in this value, 1122. So 1124. Now sir, before point, what is the number you have got? Earlier we were looking at the digits. Now we are looking at the numbers in anti-log. Sir, the number we have got is 0. Now in 0 you add 1 while taking the anti-log. While taking the log we were reducing 1. So sir, 0 में अगर 1 add करेंगे तो 1 आता है. So my answer should start after 1 digit. So after 1 digit माने के whatever the numbers I have got, no, I'll be just putting the decimal after 1 digit there, 1.124. So that is the value of log x I have got. Sir, replacing that value over there in the main. Okay. So equal to, this we were assuming at x, no? 1.124. So 1.124 minus 1, so you get 0.124. So 0.124 can also be written like 12.40% if you multiply that with 100. So that is the compounded annual growth rate you have got from Reliance from this 5 years. May I have a confirmation from the students that you are there with me till now, everyone? ये सैती को बहुत हंसना आ रहा है, बहुत हंस रही है. Okay, received it from Mr. Mohit, Bansi, Nandini, Dhaval, Mr. Johnson. Good. Let's move ahead. Miss Priska as well. Oh, I should not forget her. Okay. Uh, Now that my friend, who was boasting about that he had invested at the Madhapur Circle in the Dwarika Heights at 48 lakhs rupees and now it is valuing at 60 lakhs rupees. It's time to break his ego. Let's go over there and find the CAGR of that real estate property. Go, 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 go. Everyone should be doing it along with me. So, closing minus opening raised to 1 divided by n minus 1. So, closing is the value we have right now, That is how much? 60. And earlier it was 48 lakhs. And number of years would again be 1 divided by 5. N would be 5 minus 1. Now there is one formula in the Excel starts with RRI. Though it is not a part of this, but still I would like to give you. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे बच्चे एक्सेल के नॉलेज से क्यों वंचित रह जाए, उनको मिलना चाहिए. Okay, so there is one function called RRI that gives you the CAGR very straight away without doing anything, Just start that. Let me use the magnifier so that you get it in a better way. So RRI in bracket, the first thing is the number of periods. So basically it's 5 years, right? So I'm writing 5 there. Comma to go to the next parameter. Then it is asking me the PV. Now PV is nothing but the amount of investment we had done, So 48 lakhs rupees, the opening value can also be taken as a PV. So 48 lakhs I'm writing there, comma, and there is FV, future value. That is the incremental value you have got now, 60 lakhs. Closing the bracket, pressing enter. It is as simple as that. Just convert that into a percentage. So whatever the answer I have got, I'll just go there, my friend, in home tab, and I'll just convert that into percentage by pressing it, increase the decimals. So the CAGR that friend has got is 4.56 percentage. I said you shouldn't be boasting about that. I had invested in Reliance at that point of time. I have got much better return than you. Okay, and friend, he has also got one more return. That should also be compared. He has got 10,000 rupees of rent as well. On say he had purchased it at 5 years back, and 10,000 rupees of rent on a monthly basis. That is also a return he has got. So 10,000 multiplied by, now that we are not taking it too much complicated calculations right now. Let's assume that he got 10,000 rupees over these 5 years. And the investment amount was 48 lakhs rupees. So accordingly, we'll be calculating that return as well. So 10,000 multiplied by 12. So yearly rent, how much he has got? 1,20,000 yearly rent he has got. So friend, from that 1,20,000, that was a yearly rent he has got, no? What was the investment made by them? 48 lakhs rupees. So 120 divided by 48 lakhs rupees. So that is the yearly return he has got in terms of rent, So let me just divide that to equal to 120 divided by 48 lakhs. So that is somewhere around 2% return. Let me just convert that into a percentage. So 2.5% additional return on a yearly basis he has got from rent. So you add 2.4% in the annual compounded growth rate. So that is the total return he has got from that real estate investment, So 4.564 plus 2.5. So that comes around 7% return. And that is also a depreciable asset, building and everything all are depreciable asset. After 20-30 years, it would be requiring the renovation and some significant amount of maintenance and expenditure too. But if you purchase the share of Reliance, it is ever growing in nature. It does not depreciate because depreciation and everything has been taken already into account in their profitability. Historically, if you compare it from 1980s, since the inception of the share market in India, the Sensex has given you somewhere around 18% of the return on a yearly basis, which is quite higher than even the second one we have got. The second rent investment avenue was, I guess, the PPF, Public Provident Fund. It used to give somewhere around 9 to 95% return. Real estate has also given you somewhere around 10% of the return. Now that depends on, what type of real estate you invest, what type of uh, location you invest. Similarly, that depends on the type of share as well. But right now we are talking about the entire investment avenue from the long-term perspective. So Sensex has outperformed rest every investment avenues by the big margin. Then some people tells me, sir, in the Sensex, you have the risk as well, no? I said, what is the risk? They said, sir, company's share might go down as well. Understood. Company might go down, but entire market will not go down. Try to understand. People fails to understand very simple things. See, if I give you a very simple example, there is a team called India. Earlier, people used to believe that, there is no replacement of the god of cricket called Sachin Tendulkar. How the India will perform if there will be no Sachin Tendulkar, no Rahul Dravid, no VVS Lakshman, no Zahir Khan. But India has been doing amazingly well even after their retirement, right? Why? Because Sachin Tendulkar has got the replacement in Virat Kohli. Sehwag would have got the replacement in the name of Rohit Sharma. Every bowlers have got the replacement. The Indian team is remaining strong. Similarly, the Sensex and Nifty both are a team. Sensex is the indicator of BSE, Nifty is the indicator of indices of NSE, two stock exchanges in India. They are the team. If one stock will not be performing well, they will out of that team, that company. So you invest directly in the team. No, there are ETFs now. There are some mutual funds who are exactly investing in the same proportion and in the same manner as the Nifty and Sensex. So they are basically tracking the performance of the Sensex and Nifty only. So if you invest in a team, you won't have to bother much about the individuals, right? So you can invest into some of the other investment avenues like ETF, exchange traded funds. Not going into that because that will be taking a bit more fundamental understanding from you. What I'm trying to convey is that no one comes closer to equity market when it comes to the return. May I have a confirmation from the students? Is it clear? CAGR absolutely clear, all of you? Confirmation through the chat box, please. See, Devanshi, you will not be multiplying 1,20,000 with 5 because CAGR is also yearly in nature, no? So you want to find the yearly return from the rent as well. Are you getting my point? Devanshi, Urja, both of you, both are saying me to multiply that by 5. You cannot multiply 1,20,000 by 5 because CAGR also stand for compounded annual growth rate. What is the annual return you have got? That's why I haven't multiplied that by 5. Is it clear? Good. Thank you so much. Others, may I have a confirmation as far as the CAGR is concerned? Shall I move ahead, please? Good. Thank you so much, Priska. Thank you, Kinjal. Thanks, Urja. Okay. Let's go to one more concept called effective and nominal. Try to understand this example first, then I'll take you to that. Everyone, please put the focus again. Say you had invested 100 rupees, 10 percentage was your expected rate of return. So you are getting 10 rupees as a rate of return at your end, and the compounding is say yearly. So at the end of the year, your investment will get the value of 110, right? That would be the amount of fund you will have in whatever the investment avenue. Now, if I change the compounding frequency to semi-yearly, semi-annual, try to understand this, please. Then how do I do the calculations? So I had invested 100. Now I'll have to divide the rate by 2 because there are 2 semi-annual periods in a year, right? So 6 monthly interest will be calculated at 5%. So for the first 6 months, 5 rupees is credited in your account. So at the end of the first 6 months, your money is 105. Now there is a second half of the year as well, right? On which as well you get the 5% of the return. But that 5% will be on 105. It will not be on 100. That is what the compounding is, right? Interest on interest. So 5% of 105 would be 5.25. Yes or no? Now you add that interest, then your value of investment reaches to 110.25. That is the value at the year end, and this one is also value at the year end. So can someone tell me which one is better for you? Yearly compounding or 6 monthly compounding? Who will tell me?
6 monthly.
Very true. So when you follow the higher compounding frequency, you get the higher percentage of return. So exactly, if you check what is the rate of return you have got from this, then your actual return is not 10%. It is 10.25 divided by 100. So that is 10.25% return. So if you convert again into a monthly basis, then the rate would be even higher than 10.25%. If you convert into a daily basis, the rate would even be higher. And it would be the highest when the compounding would be done exponentially, continuously, So higher the compounding frequency, higher will be the effective rate of return. This 10% is considered as the nominal return. Nominal return. But 10.25% you have got is called as the effective return. But if the annual compounding frequency is followed, please put it in the back of your mind, everyone. If the annual compounding frequency is followed, then nominal rate of return will be equal to the effective rate of return. लेकिन अगर कंपाउंडिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी एनुअल नहीं है, 6 मंथली है, क्वार्टरली है, योर monthly है, then effective return will always be higher than the nominal return. Here we are not learning any new formulas. It is just an application of the time value of money. So sometimes you would prefer, if someone gives me that 7.9% return, say compounded monthly, then someone tell me that 8% return compounded yearly. Now here the layman who do not have any knowledge of the finance would be preferring, oh, 8%, 8%, 8%, I'll get that. But if that fellow has actually got the knowledge of finance, he would prefer 7.9 on a monthly compounded basis rather than 8% on a yearly compounding. Because 7.9 on a monthly may be higher than 8%. So here we have got the second question. Everyone would be solving this. If you have got this alternatives, now this compounding frequency options you get while investing in the fixed deposits as well. When you invest in the fixed deposits, generally the banks give you the option that what kind of frequency you want to follow, quarterly or a yearly or a 6 monthly, and accordingly the rates would differ, So accordingly you will be comparing the effective rates. Just by comparing the nominal rates, you do not reach to the conclusion. You should be comparing the effective rates. So which one is the better investment? 8% compounded annually, 7.9 compounded semi-annually, 7.8 compounded quarterly, and 7.7 compounded monthly. Which one you will be preferring? For that, we have got the formula of the effective rate. Which is very simple. You may go over there at the top. 1 plus R divided by M raised to M minus 1, as simple as that. Now some people would be like, sir, what is this M? M is nothing but the number of periods in a year. So for the first one, let's take the first example. 8% compounded annually. So the effective rate of that will come 8% only because it is anyway annual. So effective rate and nominal rate both are same. For the second one, we are doing it 7.9 semi-annually compounding. So I'm just writing the rate. 7.9 can also be written like 0.79 to be divided by how many number of semi-annual periods you have in a year? 2, right? So I'm writing over there 2. M stands for number of periods in a year. That is to be raised by 2 minus 1. So equal to 1 plus, let's just calculate that, equal to 0.079 divided by 2. So you get 0.0395 raised to 2 minus 1. So equal to 1.0395 raised to 2 minus 1. So equal to 1.0395 raised to 2. So we have got 1.08056 minus 1. So that is 0.08056. And if I convert that into percentage, that is 8.056%. So here the rate I have taken is 7.9. For the quarterly, you will take M as 4 and rate would be taken 7.8. And for the monthly, You will take M as 12 and rate would be taken 7.7. I'm giving you 2 minutes uninterrupted. You are supposed to tell me that which one is the better investment for all. Two minutes uninterrupted to everyone. Please let me know the effective rate of quarterly compounding and monthly compounding as well. Once you get your answers, you can unmute yourself or you may just put your answers in a chat box, please, everyone. Let's do it. Some people हमें तो करना ही नहीं है, तो मैं भी क्यों करूं? मैं प्रोफेसर हूं, तुम करो, चलो. सब एक नंबर के आलसी है. क्वार्टरली और मंथली. लेट्स सी कौन है हमारे क्लास का बाजीराव सिंघम, कौन है हमारे क्लास के मणिकर्णिका, कौन देता है सबसे पहले आंसर. Let me frame the equation for you if anyone is little bit confused. So I'm doing it for quarterly, right? Now, third one. So 1 plus quarterly rate is how much? Given to me 7.8 percentage nominal, right? So I'm writing 0.078 divided by 4 raised to 4 because there are 4 quarters in a year, minus 1. This would be the effective rate for quarterly compounding. Then let's take the fourth one. 1 plus nominal rate is 7.7, right? So can also be written like 0.077 to be divided by 12 raised to 12 minus 1. So let's see what is the rate of return we are getting in this third one. And I'm surprised to see that no one has done it yet. Oops. एकदम हड़ू 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 धीरे जा रहा है.
Sir, monthly we get more return.
How much?
I don't know the exact. There is some mistake, but I think monthly is more return.
Check it out. Check it out. Find the exact percentage of the effective return on a monthly basis. See, there are different nominal rates given to you for the different compounding frequency. So you will not be taking the decision based on the nominal rate. Ideally, as a rational investor, you should be taking the decision based on the effective rates. So find the effective rates for all these nominal rates, sorry. Okay, Mr. Maharshi has got 8.03. That is for quarterly, Maharshi? Yes. Okay, Harsh has also got the same. So we have got the majority consensus, 8.03 percentage for this. And what is coming for monthly? Monthly 7.99. Okay, Harsh has got it. Dolly has got the same. Good. 7.99. And for the second one, we had got, which was a semi-annual compounding. That was how much, sir? It was 8.056. So which one is the best investment for you? 7.9 percentage compounded semi-annually is better investment than all given, because over there the effective rate is the highest. That is the conclusion. May I have a confirmation from the students that you have got everything till now? Some people have already put their enrollment number. I don't know why. No instructions have been given yet. Mr. Ibrahim as well, Miss Megha, Mr. Chhatrabhuj. Fine. Is there any query or doubt or question? Everything you have got till now? Good. Please put your enrollment number now. That's it from my side. Bye-bye. Take care. Sayonara. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.